Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about something that comes up a lot in my client vlogs. Comes up when I post videos of some of my lifters who we don't do vlogs for. People will go arching on the bench press, oh, that's cheating, or it's dangerous. And what people don't understand is that, number one, it's not cheating. If the only sport in the world that test the bench press allows it within the rules, it's not cheating, number one. Number two, it's actually the safest way to bench. And I'm not saying that everyone needs an arch as big as you just saw Mike doing, but if you guys notice, a lot of my strong lifters who don't have shoulder issues at all have good shoulder health. You notice they all arch. You got Doug, Perry, some of these other guys will have their stuff in the video. All right? They all arch. No one benches with a flat back. And again, a lot of people will go, oh, well, it's cheating. Well, look, if we're worried about cutting range of motion, then maybe don't do the bench press, right? Don't do the bench press. Do dumbbells. If your goal is to get a deeper stretch on the pecs, you shouldn't be benching flat back. And I'm going to get into that in a minute as to why that is. You should use dumbbells so that you can get a deeper stretch. And by the way, half the guys who talk about cheating, I watch them dumbbell press and they don't even go all the way down. So it's like, what are you guys talking about? You guys half rep your dumbbells. Unless you go all the way down and the dumbbells, the end of it touches your armpits, you're not doing a full range of motion. So what are you even talking about? Cheating. Will you guys cheat? All right? So it's funny, these clowns do this, but the reality is, if your goal is to get a deeper range of motion, there are other tools available. There's other tools available. If you're doing it for hypertrophy purposes or to get a deeper stretch on the pectorals, and there's nothing wrong with that. My guys do that stuff. I do that stuff. You see plenty of my clients doing presses with dumbbell benching, buffalo bars, stuff like that. McDonald's bars are getting more common again. Right, you're seeing more new companies come out. Titan kicked one out. Right, they're coming back into vogue. That's the ultimate deep stretch on the pecs for a barbell, but buffalo bars work also. But dumbbells, all those things, you have other options if you want a deeper stretch. That doesn't discount the value of the bench press. Just saying, if that's your goal, then that's what you should do, and here's why. Because you should be arching like that with the dumbbells and stuff too. In that case, it's not limiting your range of motion, and that's what I want people to understand. It's not limiting your range of motion. But what's going on here? It's the setting up that arch puts your scapula and your bar path into a position that is easier on your shoulder joints. It is safer on your shoulders. Yes, some people are like, but doesn't that represent kind of a mild decline? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And again, that's very, very safe on your shoulders. It makes the exercise safer. Less irritation on the shoulder, less chance of shoulder issues. So why wouldn't you do it? It's the safest way to bench press. It is therefore the correct way to bench press. Now, people say, well, what about the low back? It'd be pretty rare for you to have a low back injury from doing that. Like, how weak is your low back? Do you not train your low back? Do you not train your abs, your core? Right? You shouldn't be getting back problems from that. If you do, then you've got a major weak link you need to fix. And if you're at risk of injury from arching a little bit on the bench press in your back, then you're in danger of injuring yourself doing anything, any day-to-day activity. So that's not really a concern. So when you start looking at these things, there's no argument. You guys notice I'm close gripping, of course, and all this stuff, but I still have an arch set up, but I still have a super long range of motion because I close grip. But it's about shoulder health. Of course, and yes, it does cut range of motion a little, but even then, what did the studies on that show? And I'm not saying EMG studies should be the be-all, end-all, because they shouldn't. They shouldn't be. You guys can see me doing some dumbbell presses, right? We're getting a deeper range of motion in spite of the arch. But the EMG studies show better activation in the pecs. Now, does that automatically mean it's superior just because an EMG study shows it? No, but it means that we're not losing anything. We're not losing any stimulus. There's weak data to suggest it gives better stimulus, and we know it's safer. It's safer. Therefore, again, if it's the safest way to do it, it's the correct way to do it. Right? It's the best way to bench. And I'm not the only one saying that. Look at some of the best experts who are out there. I've seen Chad Wesley Smith do videos on this for years and years and years. Top level coach. How about Dr. Mike Israetel over at Renaissance Periodization? I don't necessarily agree with Mike on everything, but are we going to say he's not an intelligent guy? Are we going to say he's not educated on biomechanics? I mean, he was a professor of kinesiology for years before jumping over and doing, just his full-time business himself. What has he said on it? That it's safer. All right? Let's be clear there. Even Dr. Mike has said it is safer. It's the safest way to bench. Now, who else have I heard say that? I've heard Jeff Nippard say that. He's a YouTuber again. I don't know that I always like Jeff's programming ideas or programming approach. I don't. He's educated in biomechanics, though. Is he not? And he's got a respectable bench. He arches. He says it's the safest way to bench. You don't find real experts who argue that flat back is safer. You don't see it. The only people who seem to be arguing against it are clowns on the internet and really low-level bad personal trainers. And maybe a few bodybuilding bros. Right? That's who argues against the arch on the bench. You're not seeing legitimate high-level coaches argue against it. You're not seeing experts in physical therapy or biomechanics arguing against it, are you? So what does that tell you? In fact, when most of those have an opinion on it, they're all saying, well, the arch seems to be easier on the shoulder joints. It might actually recruit more pectoral. There's, again, weak evidence for it. So it's a might. Right? It is the correct way to bench. Hands down. You don't have an argument against that. You don't have an argument against that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.